So guys, it's very important that we test the camera, right? I know, probably because persons sometimes are a bit shy, but most persons don't turn on them camera in meetings. I heard it from a pastor, a good friend of mine, saying that it's not necessarily good because it kind of takes away from the interaction. But it is what it is. As long as the meeting is successful, then a camera doesn't necessarily matter. But of course, if a person is leading Zoom, reverend, is leading a meeting in Zoom, I believe it's ideal and it should happen. You understand? That is different from those persons just, just log on just to participate. But at least the moderators and the speakers, they should ensure that they turn on their camera so that, people can follow better. All right? Now, mute yourself when not speaking. We young people know how to do that. But this is very important as well. It is so distracting when you're in a meeting and you're hearing children running up and down the place and it's not in your house. Or you hear dogs barking and, you have to be like, the host of the meeting have to be muting people. You understand? One of the things that I would advise as well, if the admins for the meetings, if they could actually, set before the meetings where once a person joins, they automatically mute, because there's an option that you can actually mute persons once they join, and also to ensure that their mics are off. Because sometimes if you don't do that, you find that persons are coming on, they don't know that they are not mute, and things are going on in the background and you have to be telling people to mute. So administrators of the Zoom accounts just ensure when a meeting is happening, before just going to the meeting settings, and ensure that participants are muted when joining a meeting, and also possibly their videos also off as well. Very important as well. Be on time. Be on time. I know for work, normally if it is that we are not on time, then after a while we probably, get a email or something from HR. Not so with church. I don't know if it's fortunate that I should say. But, sometimes we really take God's business for granted, I believe. And even us as ministers and leaders, worship leaders, I believe being on time should go as far as you come into a service, not just on a Zoom platform, or not because you're just going on a camera. You understand? It's good to be on time. All right? So be on time so that at least if you're called upon or if you're supposed to moderate, then you're actually there. And not only be on time, but in scouting, I learned this. You have to be there before time, because for you to be there on time, you have to be there in advance. So when the meeting starts, you are actually there. Because if a meeting starts at 7 and you're coming through the door at 7 and you're supposed to be leading, then it's not going to start at 7 o'clock. You understand? So you actually have to be there before the meeting, 5 minutes before, 10 minutes before, so that at 7 o'clock or at 8, 9, 10 o'clock, the meeting can start. Not only that as well, if you are not necessarily moderating or taking any responsibilities in that meeting, it's just good ethic just to be there on time, just the same. All right? Ensure your technology works correctly. And this is for Zoom. I know Zoom suck a lot of data. Zoom suck a lot of data. Persons use it on their phones. It can be done, but of course you may need the unlimited, like Pastor Charles, you say you have that type of data. But Wi-Fi is good for Zoom. Wear appropriate clothing. Sometimes I have work meeting, Rev, and I don't do it, but I've heard about it before, where persons put on a jacket, but they still have on like underpants, or they have on little shorts. You never know what can happen. Literally, you never know what can happen, and you don't want a blunder like that. So it's still good, even though if you don't plan to turn on every day, you don't know what can happen. So just ensure you have on something that, just in case you get onto the camera, then it's suitable. All right, frame the camera correctly. Now, this may seem like something simple, but it's a big deal. Now, when streaming, generally, it's best to turn the phone landscape than portrait. This is portrait. This is how we normally look at videos, right? But whenever we're streaming now or we're going on Zoom, the reason why we turn it landscape is because we get a better frame. We get a better frame that way. Because if you turn the portrait, you find that the video, the handle of the video, sometimes you see black around it. So you see the person good enough, but you see the black around it. You know why? Because they turn the phone portrait instead of landscape. When you turn it landscape now, you'll get a wider shot, and you don't see the black necessarily around the stream. You know me I talk about the black thing there? Yeah. All right. Have the right light. So for those who are going to show the video, it's good that you have lighting. You know, like ring light. Persons use like a ring light at home when they go in on live stream. A ring light, Sir Williams, is just a little, you probably see it already before. It's like an LED round light that it is on a tripod, right? So that is important as well, because what it does is, you know, it brightens your quality of that image or that video when you come on. So you may look dark without the ring light, but if you have the ring light now, it really brightens the environment. Well, I mean, you have some tripods that you can actually put beside the actual computer, that like smaller ones. But what I do sometimes, if I'm going on a meeting and I need it, then I put it at an angle. So it's here, put it here, so the ring light is actually, you know, feeding into my face there. But the camera is actually, you know, a bit in front. Because the aim of it is really just to get the light in your face, so that once the camera hits your face, then, you know, it's properly lit. So you still would need a tripod or even a smaller one to put on your desk, if that's possible as well. Look into the camera, guys. Very important. Go ahead, Anaki.
Think about the light. So you know the space. Some of you already, we would suggest you set aside a space to do your meetings. So if you know that you're doing your meetings in the dining room, then you're mindful of where the light source, just the general light source, is in your dining room. The aim is to sit in front of the light and not with the light behind it. So or directly above. So if the dining room light is here, you want it in your face. So it kind of have to be about here, so that when it's spanning out, then it is on your face. You wouldn't sit here with the light behind you, and you wouldn't sit here with the light on you, because then you get what is called some shadows. You start seeing darker spaces in your face that aren't really there. So the thing is, you think about the lighting that is in your room. Some of us are blessed where the lights are now, I know there the new lighting systems are on the wall. So you face the light. So this light is right here, you would move the table. Because sometimes the table is probably with the light in your back. You have to sit on the other side of the table where the light is shining in your face, where you don't have the additional light.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Go ahead, Rev. Very important, and Aki brought it up. Definitely. And even for those who enter into a lot of camera-based Zoom meetings, like our pastors and, you know, persons moderate a lot at church, if it's possible as well that an area could be designed specifically for that. that would be good. You know, with a little frame at the back and, you know, just to get the aesthetics looking good. You know, it would be good as well to have a specific area where the light is good and also where the background is lovely as well. Definitely, definitely. Okay, so we look into the camera. This is very important as well, guys. It's good to pay attention. Sometimes in a Zoom meeting and here, so Sean Michael, what is your take on this situation? 5 minutes and you know, hear Sean Michael. Somebody have to call Sean Michael or WhatsApp him. They might call you, you know, hear them. Because probably they're on social media or him just probably move away from the meeting. So it's very important that we pay attention within the meeting. Also as well, don't interrupt when somebody is talking, right? I know there are different tools that we can use in Zoom, for example. Probably like the raise of hand. You know, that is a tool that you can use. You press the raise your hand, or you probably use the chat, you know, just to say, can I say something? But definitely the hand raise is a good thing for the moderator to see and then can signal for you. Because what happens in Zoom, you know, is that how Zoom is tailored, it's not so technology savvy where two persons can talk and the volume are at the same pace or at the same level. How Zoom is set up, you know, is that when one person talks and another one comes in, is like the person who is talking, their volume gets lower, and then the person who now begins to talk, you're hearing them higher than the person who should be talking. So that is why you don't want to have 2 or 3 persons interrupting on Zoom, because you start to hear the difference in the volume of the voices, and it's very, very disruptive. Unless it's a speaker, participants should try to stay in one spot and limit foot movement. However, there can be hand movement, but not overly done. So this is actually for live streaming now, live streaming within the sanctuary. Now, I know for praise and worship, I know the Holy Spirit moves, right? But, you know, it is a case where when the Spirit moves, at the same time, you know, you are able to kind of control certain movements, right? I'm not saying that you should quench the Spirit, which is a different thing, right? Because if the Lord, you know, speaks to you, the Holy Spirit speaks to you to say something, then of course you're free to say. But the thing about it is that you see the Holy Spirit moving, some of the times it can be literally a distraction. So even though the service is going great, but the mere fact that, you know, people, you know, all over the place, and you understand, especially where praise and worship is concerned, I'm talking about. The speaker, of course, sometimes goes all around the place to interact. Nothing is wrong with that. But if I have 3 persons on the praise and worship, 4 persons, and everybody is moving around, then you kind of get the image what I'm talking about. Right? So it's very important that in worship, we remember that we're on camera and that we should be cognizant at all times. Go ahead, Rev. Yes. That's true.
So what happened first, during that production, I got to work on those Genesis. And one of the background vocalists, she was, we were always testing for the artist law. And I realized that because of that, even her dress. Now, nothing is wrong with her dress by television. But when we looked on camera, we could see her dress. And that's a part of testing your camera, testing your lighting, testing your angles, so that everybody who's working on the film knows that. So for the whole team, we knew that we can't pick up a background vocalist outside and show that here because she wasn't wearing anything revealing, you know. It's just that based on the lighting, you could see straight to her dress. So those are the things to bear in mind when we're testing your camera space, we're listening for the audio, we're looking at everything. One of the things we're looking at for St. John's right now, I can say to the team that we're going to mark out the area. This very same, you can take that you guys who's on a chair, you can use it to mark out the area. So you know where the camera stands on the Sunday morning. You see the place that is live on the Sunday morning. Enclose that blue area so that everybody who is up there knows that when you are within the blue square, you're on screen.
Good idea. Very good idea.
On screen. So even ministers, I know ministers who walk to church and you're checking your iPad. I know us in church, we automatically assume you're probably going over your sermon or whatever. Don't do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Disengage from what's
Right.
in this sermon.
Right. Very, very good item. Go ahead, Sean. Right. So you're zoning, you have a centralized area for that, right? So it can eliminate some of the issues that Anaki mentioned, which are very good. And I believe a few of them is here as well. I may not need to touch so long on that, seeing that, but very good points. Important, as you said, Anaki, that the media team, praise and worship, the whole worship team to come before. It's a struggle. It's a struggle at Carpenters. I don't know if it's a struggle at Washington and St. John's Road. But people need to understand the importance of coming before to set up. And not only to set up, but even just to test the stream to ensure that the mics are properly set up. The keyboard is not too loud than the mics, because it's very technical. It's very, very technical. You understand? So these things must be done before. In fact, I believe the media team and praise and worship, more so the musicians, should be at church at least an hour before service starts. Give them enough time to do whatever, especially with the cameras and stuff. We know technology goes sometimes. The troubleshooting to get this up to, oh my, trust me, it can take a long time. So it's very important that, as Anike said, we come before time to ensure that everything is okay. Go ahead, Mary. Instead of having somebody around. All right. One of the things that we implement, Rev, one of the things that we implemented at church is an idle screen on the stream. We get a lot of bashing for it recently, so we have to change our approach. But we use the idle screen. So you see when a lot of transitioning taking place and it's distracting, we just like put something there that those on the stream, they can't see what's happening. So sometimes I even the spraying of the mics and you understand the movements, we use that to kind of, to pull away from the distraction. But the idle screen itself, overly doing it can be a distraction as well too. Because people saying that they're seeing the idle screen and they're not. They're hearing persons talking, but they're not seeing them. They must say, well, it take too long to take it down and stuff. So what we actually did now is to utilize a second camera. So while things are happening there, we just show the audience. So nobody can say, well, they must see the idle screen that is there. They're hearing people, right? We actually just show the audience while whatever is happening up there is happening up there. You understand? So Marc, I believe that could actually fix the main issue with the transitioning. But at the same time, I believe perhaps the media team would need to sit and discuss how they can in-house try to resolve some of that movement as well. Rev. Right? Mm-hmm. It depends on the size and what you have at your resources and stuff. Now, Rev, you raise a point. I wanted to just ask a question. In terms of streaming online, I don't know how long the average time or the duration for each church. If you have an idea, go ahead and okay. Yeah. What's the answer?
Alright, so how you can we're working on it. It's what is streamed. What is streamed doesn't have to be what happens on a Sunday. So the best way to say it. So for St. John's Road, or let me use my mother's church for example, there's a stark difference. Church starts for them at 9. Their stream doesn't start until 10. When stream starts at 10, for them, note I say for them, their New Testament church, you get the last 2 songs of praise and worship, an opening prayer, a special number, the speaker, stream in. So church happens before the stream, and church happens after the stream. No,
Brilliant.
because we as church feel like we must sing everything when we're at home. We come back to the point I made before.
Right.
Not everything that happens in church translates well on screen. Collecting the offering.
Right. Definitely. That is for after.
That is an issue with money, but there's too much going on for the media team to follow, and too little going on up there for the camera to constantly just be on there. So stuff like that. Collecting the offering, blessing of babies. I don't want to say baptism. I think baptism is something that persons really should see others coming into the fold. But collecting of offering, blessing of babies, and your church can sit down and see what works over the structure. But those things don't need to be streamed.
Definitely.
So I just want to say, the larger the church, the greater the production, the more hands are needed. Based on the problem we're talking about, you need a stage man. The moderator should not move from the stage for no reason at all except going to their seat and coming back. There is no reason why a moderator needs to leave from my time to set aside who's going to move the prayer. There needs to be a stage manager. The program, I believe, is already set from day one. And even if you are the moderator, the Lord has given you some instruction, you come to church early enough where you can say to the media team, X, Y, and Z, I want short man to do prayer, and the dancers are supposed to be there, cutting all, putting up, and now you have the dance team. Oh, they're not ready yet, so we're going to move to something else. It doesn't translate well on the screen. So what you really need is a stage manager who is already on top of those things. Dance is coming, the group is going to sing, this person is going to be there, and they can wait here, but you guys have a space. This can be a waiting area. Like if you're taking part in church, you're sitting over here. So when you understand, I know you have the opening prayer by this person, she's already there. It is the stage manager's responsibility to pray about it. Pastor is at the bathroom, and then they will signal to Mark. Move up. So then Mark will know. And you also have to train the moderators. But if the moderator don't need to stay on time, okay, she's not available, right? And those statements don't need to be made on TV. They don't need to be made. Because if you guys know now, every mistake that is made in church is on Instagram. Every single one of them is on Instagram. So what happens?
Go ahead, Tassan. Definitely. That way. Right. Conflicting. Yeah, it doesn't. Right. Very much so. Right, right. Brilliant, brilliant. I like the discussions. And also as well, I would like to point out that I think in terms of the media, based on the amount of work it takes, I believe that, you know, within our churches, it should actually be a ministry. So even though it's a part of praise and worship, but just like how you'd have like even a YIA or you have like a WMF, based on the amount of things it really takes, I think they need a dedicated ministry, a leader, you understand? Because that is something that we're looking even at Carpenters, based on the direction where things are going. In fact, I would suggest as well that the media team, you get recruit as much persons as possible to join the team, and you allocate each person to have a resource. Let me give you an example. There is the sound engineering, which is different from what Sean Michael is doing. Sean Michael is doing we call it like computer operations. So you'd have a computer operations team, you'd have a camera team, you'd have a sound engineering team, and as well, you have virtual ushers. Now, virtual ushers are those who are on Facebook or on YouTube who are also ushering those who are there. Because even though we have ushers here in church, it's very important that when there are persons who are joined on our streams, that we make them feel welcome as well. Right? So that is a direction where we have taken it. So for each ministry, for each sector, or for each role, as I mentioned, we have like 4 individuals. And what we actually have to start doing now is to roster people. So we know that Tassan is camera today, Sean is on the sound engineering, I am doing the computer operations, and there is Reverend Nugent who is doing the virtual ushering. I believe that is the direction that we have to go. Awesome. 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 Right, right. Mm-hmm. 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 Right. Definitely. Right. 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 Awesome. Right. And the exit. Awesome, awesome. One idea as well is in terms of getting the scripture, the topic, the name of the speaker, and so on. One idea is also to create like a Google Forms or a Jot form. So if there is like a moderating group that once persons are going to moderate, just put in information, and people from the media team or whoever wants to pull up the form, they can literally go back into the form and see all of that without having to really even talk to the moderator. So that's a Jot form or a Google form that can be created as well to help with, the communication of the services and so on and so forth. All right, let's go back to this real quickly. Unless someone is participating, no one should walk in front of the camera. As what Anake says, there are spaces that should be created. How many times you see you're streaming at your churches and you're actually seeing somebody? It's distracting. It's definitely, it's one of the worst things that can happen on a stream, right? So it's very important, as what my sister said, if you could, designate a space where persons don't pass. So for example, if here at Washington, this is the space that you use, where the camera is, then of course, unless a person is definitely coming here to the praise and worship, absolutely nobody should pass here. Nobody should pass here. Understand? Because it's very distracting. Once mic is not being used, it should be muted or turned off. Very important as well, because everything that happens in the church, the mics are able to pick up. Right? Especially we have some good mics at churches. You know, things are going to be happening at the back. You hear baby screaming out and the mic picks them up. You understand? So it's good that the audio engineer, that you mute the mics once they're not in use. All right? If you realize the reason why I actually put this mic here and it's on is so I can capture the audience, because based on the recording that I'm doing, I want to ensure that when you know you have something to say, then it can be heard in the mic. So it's very important that we monitor our mics. Any bloopers seen while in front of the camera should not be made obvious or blown out of proportion. It should be made as discreet as possible. I remember recently at church, the praise and worship team, some of the praise and worship team was thirsty. And I don't know if I forgot that, you know, it was that they're actually on camera. So this is it. This is it. I'm playing it. I'm talking on a live stream, you know. The cart drop. You can imagine that? Can you imagine that? So, any bloopers, if it is that you're tripping over the mic, of course, you know, you might hurt your foot, but just have to kind of play it down, you know. Just play it down, try to be as discreet as possible. You don't want to blow it out of proportion. We are human beings, you know, mistakes will happen, but of course you have to bear in mind that we're in front of the camera and we have to be as discreet as possible. If doors are in the background, if possible, participants should limit movement to and from, which is the same thing we are talking about here, right? The up and down, and it's very distracting. Sound check and video check should be done before the streaming starts, the mention. Always think before you act. Always be conscious that you are in front of the camera. That always has to be in the back of the moderator's mind, the speakers, those who are doing the special numbers, so on and so forth. I think we're almost to the end, I believe. This is it? Awesome. So, Orion, go ahead. Orion, we're not here. Yeah. Brilliant. Especially on Facebook. Facebook take it down like within seconds. YouTube, we get a chance, but oh my God. Trust me. So even when I am doing my show on a Sunday, I literally tailor the songs, because do I go on Facebook, I literally don't play foreign songs. I don't know if you notice. If you guys notice, I don't play American songs. I can't play hip-hop gospel. I can't play Tasha Cobbs. I can't play those songs. I stick to Kevin Downswell for the worship part. Once I play those songs on Facebook, gone, that's it. So that's very important as well. That especially if dancing, because you know dancing, they play the songs. Trust me, I've seen it where Facebook take it down. Or they mute it. But I guess if you do it within the stream, if you do it more than one time, after a while, sometimes they just take it down and not mute it. Understand? So that is very important, Orion. Any other questions, suggestions?
They weren't streaming all. They started streaming chart. What I noticed, they didn't set up before. So it's actually while the service is going.
They set it up?
Doing that, just and then some windows, and they were checking out there. It was the aircraft that the dog was just here. And I was thinking about what they're saying in terms of ensuring that the running checks before. How far can it go in ensuring that everything is working before you go?
Well, I mean, as I said, I've been in situations already where there was this there was this capture card that we were using. This one here. Sometimes it takes half an hour to get the camera just to come up. When really and truly, once you plug it in, it should come up right away. And I remember one Sunday I was trying to troubleshoot the issue for an hour and about 15 minutes. Literally. The truth about it is that how technology is sometimes the troubleshooting literally can take longer than usual. Right? Sometimes within a snap of a finger, you can actually get whatever resolved. But my suggestion is that at least an hour before that the team comes and they do their setup.
Sure that you are on time and everything working before you go.
Definitely. Definitely.
There are people who know that they are part of the media team, so to speak.
They come whenever they want. When right. Very distracting. Very distracting.
We might be in here when we in, but there's no guarantee that the same thing that we in here is on.
Right.
So
To monitor video and sound to ensure that everything is in sync. Orion, what one?
Early in the morning, I will be the same process. Just get together, everything, and then we'll go to July.
Something different. Something stop work. Yeah, sometimes. Right. Until you go live. Monitoring.
When we go live on YouTube, someone
Is watching too. Awesome. Right. Definitely. Right. Right. Yeah. Right. Low. Right. Right. In the background. The buzzing, yeah. A whole team. No. Right. And one of the things as well, in terms of the sound, that can be used as well. It should be there as well in the Streamlabs, like a noise suppression. Right. So what I do sometimes, you see, when the speaker, when we know that, because how noise suppression works, it kills all of the background sound. It only should pick up the voice. So if you put on noise suppression when there's praise and worship, it's going to sound awful. But whenever one person is talking in the mic now, it sounds clear. So even for the recording of this session now, I had to put noise suppression on because I know that there's no praise and worship that is going on. I'm going to be in the mic, and I don't want any frying, I don't want any buzzing. So the noise suppression helps to deal with that. So when the stage, when a church reaches to the level of a stage 3, then there are resources within those applications or softwares that can actually help to enhance the service. Go ahead.
What happens is that when you're now watching the screen, all you hear is Marc. Don't hear
the fans.
You don't hear him walking on the path. Don't hear when somebody drops a tambourine in the church.
Right. So that's noise suppression. All right. So any more questions? If that is it, then that has been the end of the presentation for today. It was a good one.